The cosmos, the endless, unforgiving, and cold final frontier where the only guarantee is the vacuum of space. While researchers such as ourselves may not have immediate access to the infinite unknown, containers having vacuums are readily found and can be made for more than just cleaning, but also for the pursuit of modern scientific advancements. This production has been brought to you by Klondike the Future and the SUNY College at Brockport. Today we'll be discussing the proper methodology for accessing these containers. But first, let's establish a few concepts. A vacuum chamber and a glove box are two separate pieces of equipment. Both of them operate under the basis of having a space where scientists can manipulate and measure substances in a separate and by extension safer environment than if they were to simply use a hood. And while there are vacuum glove boxes, the procedure we'll be going over has only been approved for glove boxes. While there are many parts to a glove box, for our purposes we'll be focusing on what's used to introduce new substances into the controlled environment of the glove box. The entrance of the glove box is called a port. Above the port there's a pressure gauge, and below a rotating handle, which can be set to evacuate, close, and refill. Refill references the port being filled with nitrogen gas, and close is the shutting off of the port from the nitrogen gas supply. The port is sealed to maintain pressure with two metal doors only accessible via a twisting knob. To start, the carrier that will enter the chamber must be acquired. If it's in the port still, then the process to initially access the port will still be the same. Before accessing from either side, the port needs to be filled with nitrogen gas. The rotating handle, which would be set to close, must be rotated to refill. Once the pressure has risen and stabilized within the port, the handle must be set back to close, and the outer metal door can be removed to acquire the carrier. Our chemists already have the carrier, but they still need to follow this procedure to reintroduce it to the port. Once opened, the carrier can enter its new home, and then have the doors tightly sealed behind it. From there, the rotating handle will be changed from close to evacuate. The pressure in the port will fall, stabilize, then we can begin our cycles. The process goes: evacuate, wait for pressure to fall, close, then refill, wait for pressure to rise,
And that is all.
This palindromic procedure should be repeated 4 times. After what would be the fourth refill, the knob should be set to closed, and the door to access the nitrogen-filled port within the isolated environment of the glove box can be used. Once work within the glove box is finished, if the materials used need to be reacquired, then they can be put back into the carrier, which would go into the port. It may be needed to leave the cap of the vial lightly unscrewed to enable airflow.
When finished accessing the port from outside of the glove box, the handle should be rotated from closed to vacuum and then returned to the closed position until presumably its next use.
And with that, we conclude our presentation.